Hello, gorgeous people. How are you all doing today? So she wriggling already. Don't wriggle this early in the video, Vivi. How are you all? I hope you are well. I'm okay. Yeah, I'm well. Just flagging again. I've just made myself a hot lemon. I think I need more lemon in that. Yeah, just starting to feel a little bit run down, battery empty, really empty. Might be partly to do with the weather because it is foul. I brought the sunnies over to share with you to bring a bit of sunshine into the video because it's Friday today. You're going to see this, I think, on Sunday. Last Saturday, so 6 days ago, was the day when I sat outside in the garden at the pub in gorgeous sunshine and heat with my eyes closed, pretending I was on holiday in France. I'm so glad I made the most of the nice weather because I think it's pretty much UK-wide by now, but we've literally had 6 days of non-stop rain. And at times it's been really, really heavy rain. And I know that there are parts of the country flooded, parts of London are flooded. I just really hope all of you are okay and property is okay, etc. But yeah, it's it's awful at the moment. Anyway, I'm weather tight, I'm indoors. We've got some sunflowers to pretend we've got a bit of sunshine going on. So let's plough in. Oh, just before I properly plough in, I just wanted to say a thank you to Tracy for lovely card. Really lovely letter, Tracy. Thank you. Massively appreciated that. Just saying, you know, thanks for videos and stuff. And then she sent me a whole box full of really nice swing tags. So any of you who've ever bought anything from my shop will know they all come with a little tag and a thank you. Tracy, thanks. That's great. That's because they're really lovely as well. So I shall get busy with my little hand stamping them with my Vivi's Kitchen Garden bits. Thank you, lovely. Tracy also asked, so we're going to come on to flat stuff, give you a bit of an update. Tracy asked, what did she say? Do you have a mortgage or will you need a mortgage for your next place? No, I don't have a mortgage. I paid my mortgage off quite a number of years ago, which is part of the reason that I've been able to manage on so little money all these years. And no, I won't need a mortgage when I buy my next place because it will be sort of almost the same price. A little word about the money. I'm going to come on to some money stuff later and some savings and bits and bobs where I've managed to save it here and there. Anyone who's watched me for a while will know that I basically live on £500 a month. So that's about 150 quid to live on. That's food, clothing, travel, entertainment, that's everything, 150 quid a month. And the other 350 is bills. And like I say, I don't have a mortgage. You know, I'm so glad I put all that work into paying down my mortgage. It's really helped me now at this stage of my life. So the reason I'm mentioning that is I live on 500, but of course sometimes I make more than £500 in the month, despite YouTube's best efforts to kind of drive me to distraction. So literally, for the last 7.5 years, ever since I started the channel, ever since I left work and had my last paycheck, anything, literally every single penny over £500 goes into savings. And it's been really important, and we'll get to that in a minute. There have been over the years a few minor exceptions. So for example, going out for my drama school reunion the other night was a bit spenny. But for me, that was well worth it. I mean, I literally haven't had a night out like that in 8 or 9 years. So one night out in 8 or 9 years, it's allowed. I used a bit of my savings last September when I went down to Dorset with my sister's ashes. She had given me, left in her will, a bit of money for me for 2 nights accommodation and a train fare. So I put a bit of my own money towards it to add another 2 nights of accommodation, so I could have 5 fullish days there, 4 nights, 5 days. But otherwise, otherwise, over the years, live on 500 quid, put every single other penny into savings. That's partly savings for emergencies, building, for instance. It's partly savings for emergencies in terms of equipment, computer, camera, sewing machine. And it's been savings towards moving house, because moving house costs money. Remember, I was talking in the video about saying, is it possible to do a frugal house move? Well, I've opted to not go a particularly frugal route. I'm paying for services, removals, estate agents, solicitors, all of that. So that can be £20,000 or more easily in the UK. I've budgeted for less than that. Actually, we'll come to the budget, the moving budget, in a second, because it's influenced by what has happened in the meantime. So let's just talk dates for a minute. I had to write this down because I don't know whether it's the 1st of September, the 8th of July, the 19th of... I don't know where I am. So my flat went onto the market on Tuesday, the 17th of September. Tuesday the 17th. By Wednesday the 18th, I had multiple viewings booked in for Saturday the 21st. By the end of Saturday the 21st, I had multiple offers. Full asking price offers. So I'm going to explain a few of these bits now, because I know that friends outside of, and I'm going to say England, because I know that Scotland have a very different system for buying and selling property. I don't know what goes on in the other home nations, so I'm going to talk specifically about England. I'm going to explain some of this stuff because I know folk outside of England go, huh? What? Your system is mad. It is. It's a mad system, and it's incredibly fragile. So, by the end of Saturday, multiple full price offers. That's great. So generally what happens then is we go to what's called best and final. So all those people who've offered the full asking price for my flat, we go back to them and say, what's your best and final price? In other words, are you prepared to go up a bit? So by the end of Monday, it was just about 1 week since I'd gone on the market, I had my best and final offers in. And even at that stage, it's not quite as straightforward as you might think, in terms of, you might think, oh, well, obviously you go for the highest offer. You kind of you have to look at the credentials of who's made that offer. So, for instance, are they a cash buyer? Are they buying with a mortgage? If it's a cash buyer, it's going to be a much more secure deal, because there's no bank to turn around at the last minute and say, actually, we've decided we're not going to lend for this property. Things like, what kind of deposit have they got? Because the bigger their deposit, the more favourable a bank is towards them, so it's less likely to go wrong. This is all about mitigating risk. Because, like I said, this whole process of buying and selling in the UK is ridiculously fragile. At any moment, from now for the next 4 months, I'll be diving deeper and deeper and putting more and more money into moving forward. And at the last minute, it could all come down like a house of cards and nothing happens. So we've got our best and final offers. Then I sit with my agent for a good while. We go through the candidates and look at exactly what their financials are, what their position is, because another thing to consider is that person in a chain? Again, this is something we talk about in the UK. We talk about the chain, this precious thing, the chain. it's the chain of people who, without that person, I can't progress. So for example, I can't buy my next place without selling this place. It just can't happen because I don't have money otherwise. So the person who sells me their flat, I become a link in the chain. They can't sell until I've sold. The person I sell to, if they've got to sell their property in order to move in here, they've got a link with someone else. So we've got a chain that's 4 people long. My seller, me, my buyer, and whoever's buying from them. My seller may be moving into a property where that is part of another chain. You can end up with a chain that's got 8, 9, 10 people in it. That's way too risky, because if one part of the chain breaks, the whole chain breaks. So in an ideal situation, you only want a chain of 2. It's like, if I was I will be a cash buyer, I don't have a mortgage, but what I mean is, if I wasn't relying on the sale of this property, and the person who I'm buying from wasn't relying on the sale of theirs to buy another, and they're relying, it could just be between me and them. Anyway, so back to people viewing my property. I hope that makes sense. The chain is the main thing. So we discussed it at length, and I made the decision to go with, I'll call her Miss A. I've decided to go with Miss A, a first-time buyer, so there's no chain behind her, good credentials, great. So she gets a phone call to say, you've got it, it's yours, you won, sort of thing. Utterly delighted, apparently cried a bit on the phone because she's so happy. I know I've picked the right person. 2 hours later, I get a phone call from the agent saying one of the others has come back and topped her offer by £10,000. And you might think, wow, brilliant. I turned it down. A simple reason, I've already given my word to Miss A that I'm going to sell to her. And I know how devastating it would be to get that news. Actually, you've lost out to someone else because someone's got a bit more money than you. It's just not fair. I've given my word. My word is worth more than £10,000. You know, life has got to be about more than money. And of course, we all need money. Of course we do. And I'm sure rich people possibly don't think twice about it. But when you're poor, we do. We think about money a lot. We have to, because we've got to pay bills. But life really, I don't want my life to revolve around money. Simple as that. And ultimately, you know, I've got quite strict morals. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I would not want to be told, yes, you've got the flat you like, and then a few hours later to get a phone call to say, well, unless you can come up with an extra 15, 20 grand, you've lost it. It's just not fair. It's not fair, it's not honourable, it's not nice. I'm not going to do it. So I'm sticking with the person who, you know, I said, yeah. So that's, sold the flat. Now, some folk might think, Vivi, why aren't you more excited? Why are you not jumping up and down, clapping, shouting from the rooftops? I am really excited and I am really happy, but so much can go wrong. And I'm not being a doomy, gloomy person. I'm not wishing for trouble. It's just the reality of house buying in not the UK, in England. It's just the reality. Do you remember my friends a couple of years ago? I think it was the late spring of 2022 when I started looking for property. A friend of mine started looking because she just found out she was pregnant. We were both looking for ground floor garden flats. So we were letting each other know. They ideally wanted a 2-bed. I knew that I only wanted a 1-bed. But so when I'm looking at the estate agents, if I saw something I thought was right for them, I'd give her a call and say, hey, such and such a property has come up. So that was the spring of 2022. 2022. They had the baby in December 2022. December 2023, they finally moved. It was a really rough time for them, a horrible process. They had 4 properties. They ended up moving into the 4th, but they had property number 1. They put their offer in. The offer was accepted. 3-4 months down the line, the survey has been commissioned. They pay for it. And then the buyer changed their mind and kept the property. And that happened to them with three properties until finally with the 4th property, they actually got the keys. So, in other words, it took them 19 months and 4 properties before they actually had front door keys in their hand. So that's why I'm sort of keeping a lid on everything. It ain't over till the fat lady sang and all that. So, oh, and by the way, coincidentally, I've bought a new flat. Yeah. I've put an offer in on a flat and it's been accepted. Yeah, it's all great. Oh, just don't be excited. Right, so my viewings all happened on the Saturday, and what I didn't let on to anyone apart from a best friend is on the Thursday before I'd even sold this place, I saw a place and I kind of knew on paper it was right. I'm going to talk a little bit more in another video. I'm going to do some cooking and chatting, but to just ease the agony of looking at a gazillion properties, I gave myself a little tool to use that worked really, really well. I'll explain that for any of you who are looking. But yeah, on the Thursday, if you remember, I think in my video on... When did I make that video? I think it was Sunday after I'd been... Yeah, because I said I'd been out and about all day Thursday looking at properties. Friday I'd had the reunion. Saturday my property was being looked at. The property that I'd looked at on Thursday that I liked and I'd put an offer in on Monday, I got the email to say the offer's being accepted. So now we're into that mammoth thing of, I'm suddenly feeling really, really warm. I've been running around a bit. It is humid with all the rain. Yeah, now we're into that kind of mammoth session of, I've engaged a solicitor, not the one that I got to do my will. They were too expensive. So there's all the stuff I need to do for the solicitor in terms of selling this flat. There's all the stuff I need to do at the moment for the agent of the property that I want to buy. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, lots of proving my finances. It gets really, really invasive, actually, showing bank accounts and statements and all that just to prove, yes, I'm good for this, as it were. But yeah, I'm really happy. I'm really chuffed. I'm trying not to move in my head. I'm trying not to do that too much, because of course we do I said this months ago, didn't I, that in terms of house hunting, flat hunting, buying, whatever, when you see someone, you need to kind of fall in love. You need to be able to picture yourself being there, being happy, and that requires an emotional investment. But one doesn't want to invest too much just in case further down the line there's heartbreak. Now, I'm hoping, so going back to the chain, the person I'm buying from is a landlord. It's been a flat that's been rented and they're selling up. So there's no onward chain, which is great. So this chain of this could have been a chain of 5, 6 or 7, and it's actually only a chain of essentially 2, me and my buyer, which is really good. And that helped in terms of convincing the seller of my new flat. It helped convince them that I was a good candidate. Do you see? It's so convoluted. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not going to say too much about it. I don't want to jinx myself. I am I am in love with it. I can totally see how everything in that flat will work furniture wise, but also the ergonomics of me working from home. It will be great. It's a little bit further from the shops than I was anticipating, but no matter. And it's got a little garden. It's just a little garden. I think the garden is probably, it's smaller than my main room here. It's big enough for a table and chairs, and it's big enough for some pots for some veggies and some pots for some flowers. It's certainly big enough to get creative with and have fun with. So, yeah, it's happening. And literally about the new flat, that's all I'm going to say. Don't ask me anything about it. I'm not going to talk about it anymore, hopefully, because I really don't want to jinx things. Oh, I don't know why I'm being so insecure. Yeah, just a few bits on money matters that have just fallen into place for me, thank goodness. The first thing is the flat I'm going to buy, it's below the stamp duty threshold. Hallelujah! Again, for anyone outside of England, stamp duty is a tax we pay. It's a one-off tax. When you buy a property, you pay a tax. And it's a percentage of the value of the property. And I had thought, for the last 2 years, looking and prices and everything, I honestly thought I was going to have to go up in my budget and I would be in the first band for the stamp duty tax. So, thinking that I would have to do that, I saved for the stamp duty. So that's £3,000 I saved for stamp duty that I don't have to pay. Yay! So the £3,000 goes straight into the doing up fund. That's fantastic. Also, in terms of agents, my agent fees, it's coming at £1,500 less than kind of everybody else and what I thought it was going to be. And again, I'd saved for the agency fee. So that's another £1,500 into the do up fund. Of course, my flat got valued higher than I thought it would be. So that extra, that's going in the do up fund, So in terms of actual moving costs, what's really useful now is I finally, I've been kind of saving in the dark, as it were. I've had rough ideas of agents are going to cost this, stamp duty will cost this, solicitors will cost this, who I missed out, removals firm will cost this. I had rough ideas. So I was trying to aim to save £15,000. So this is kind of coming back to the beginning of the video, that £15,000 for someone who lives on 500 quid a month seems like an impossible task. It's not impossible if you're really, really, really strict. So that equates to saving £50 a week, week in, week out for 6 years. 50 quid a week. Week in, week out, week in, week out. And, you know, over the years, people have said, how do you stay so disciplined, Vivi? How do you do it? And one of the things I've often talked about is having that goal. If you've got a really clear goal, it makes it easier. So every time I think about wasting a bit of money on, I don't know, buying something I don't need, a throw for the sofa, it's 20 quid. Oh, but it's beautiful. Do I really need it? I just think to myself, that's 20 quid that's not going into the house moving fund. And moving now is, it's obviously, it's been my priority for a while because of my knees. So yeah, it is hard. It is hard to save so much. But on the other hand, it's a clear goal. I know what I want. And actually, by saving so hard, I've actually ended up giving myself quite a big cushion because I don't need all of that money. So it's all going to go into the refurb of my new place. So yeah, I think it's going to cost me more like I've paid some bits and bobs already. I think I'm going to have, probably about 6,000 or 7,000 saved that I don't have to use for what I thought I was going to have to use it for. I haven't quite got final figures in yet, but anyway, the point is, 50 quid a week, my goodness, I would love that, but it would be so easy to fritter, wouldn't it? Even 20 quid a week, it would be so easy to fritter it, so easy. So yeah, I stay disciplined. I was thinking about this the other night because you can't see, I've got leggings on today because we are getting a bit chillier with all this damp air. These have just come off the clothes horse, finally dried. It's taken ages to get clothes dry. Before they went into the wash, I did a load of laundry on Monday, it must have been Monday. Yeah, I did a load of laundry on Monday. I'd been holding off doing it because I didn't want wet washing hanging for my viewings. So on Sunday evening, I knew that these leggings needed a little repair. I'd caught them with my secateurs when I was getting the last bit of lavender. I snagged them. So I sat on the sofa Sunday evening doing my repair, and it's right next to two other little repairs. So I'd got the leggings inside out, and I thought, how many repairs are there on this pair of leggings? There are 8 repairs on this pair of leggings that I'm wearing. 8. Now, they only cost £10 to buy. I bought them from Sainsbury's, To Clothing, TU. They were 10 or 12. I think they were 10. So the first time one of the seams slightly ripped, you might think to yourself, they're only 10 quid, chuck them, get a new pair. But I didn't. I repaired them. And every time I've got a little hole in there somewhere, either from walking past a bramble bush and it snags them, or snagging with my secateurs. So if I had bought a new pair of leggings every time these have needed a repair, I would have ended up buying 8 more pairs of leggings, and that would have cost me 80 quid. So yeah, it is possible to save really, really quite a lot of money, but it's hard. It is possible, but it's hard. And there are times when I think, if a bad day, or the weather's horrible, or you're feeling sad, or whatever it is, sometimes I think, I just want a treat, I just want this, I want that, but I just always keep coming back to reminding myself, you're doing this for a purpose, you're doing this for your new home. And the fact is, once I have moved, I will continue to save, I will continue to have emergency funds and all that kind of stuff, and I'll continue to save in terms of for further down the line, if I want to do something with the decorating or a garden improvement. I'll always save for my home. On top of repairs, I'll always save for home repairs. I'm talking about stuff that you don't need, like just changing the decor. I'll always save for that. But what it'll mean is I just won't need to save so hard. It will be one of the huge benefits of moving, apart from being on the ground floor and saving my knees, and apart from having my own little garden. I'm so excited. I've got pictures anyway. I'm trying not to, just in case it all goes wrong. But apart from having my own garden, one of the huge differences for me when I've moved is a bit of breathing space financially. Instead of living on 35 quid a week, I can maybe say, Vivi, you can live on 45 quid a week, sweetheart. You can live on 50 quid a week. You can still save, but give yourself 50 quid a week to live on, for heaven's sakes. That would be really, really, really nice. Right, so yes, what a crazy bonkers time. My email pings constantly at the moment. The agent that I'm buying from, they want more information. My agents are sort of, wanting this, that or the other. Now there's a solicitor involved, and they will want information about this flat for the person who's buying. They will also be my spokesperson person. They'll be my mouthpiece for questions for the place I'm buying. You know, I know quite, actually there's a surprising amount of you, literally I think within the last year, hands up, I know there's a ton of you, hands up those of you who've moved within the last year. I know there's loads of you. Congratulations on getting through to the other side. Oh, I just nearly broke into a Doors song then. I was going to say, break on through to the other side. Yeah, just sorry. Yeah, congratulations for being on the other side. And hopefully your boxes are gradually unpacking and you're not in chaos anymore. But for those of you who are like me, some of you also I know are about to start looking at putting your own place on the market and going on the market. So we're sort of in this together, aren't we? There won't be, in the meantime, there won't really be much to update you on. I may refer at times to in my next place, but really in terms of any news, any development, now it's handed over, it's the solicitor's job, and this is when it, for all of us, for Miss A who's buying from me, for me buying from them, this, for all of us now, it kind of goes quiet. Let the solicitors do their work. I've got to commission a survey for the other flat, the flat I'm buying. Miss A will need to commission a survey for here. You see, that's the other thing. I haven't had that place surveyed yet, so it might be I get the survey back and they say it's a disaster, it's about to fall down. It looks quite sturdy. All right, lovelies, that's enough for today, I think, isn't it? You know, all along, for the last 2 years, I know a lot of, because even throughout this year, people have said, Vivi, I think you need to start looking. It's like, I've been looking. And actually, the fact that I went onto the market should have been a clue for some folk that maybe she's found something and that's why she's now hurrying to get on the market. That, you know, people say you need to be under offer before you start looking. And I don't mean this in a braggy way, and I certainly don't mean it in a smug way. That person has called me smug. But I was fairly confident in selling this place. I was fairly confident that it would sell quickly, and I hope I'm jinxed myself. So yeah, that's why I felt confident enough to be looking at properties without being under offer. And once I'd seen somewhere that I thought was really, really strong candidate, right, let's get this on the market. So that's why, you know, I mean, literally everything has happened in the space of about 5 days. Which is absolutely mad. It's mad for my head to catch up with. I'm waffling now, aren't I? I am happy. I am excited. It ain't over till I've got keys, this set of keys for my new place in my hand, and I've given those keys to Miss A. So until then, I have to contain it a bit and just get on with other stuff. Get on with life. One can't live in that kind of highly anticipatory state and that highly excited state. You can't live like that for 3 or 4 months. It would just, your nerves would be shot. So the celebration, the real cock-a-hoop celebration, you're going to see it, will be once I'm in the new place. For now, yeah, it's business as usual. Right, I'm going to get back to work. And I will see you all again really soon. We might be doing some cooking and chatting. Not a recipe in particular, but I need to get on with more batch cooking. I really need to catch up on a lot of work because all of this has taken up a lot of days and a lot of time. Oh, yes, and I've got a real treasure to show you. Talking of homemaking and housekeeping, and it's homemaking that refers to the war years in my family. I'll show you that either next time or next but one time. Anyway, in the meantime, breathe. It's all good. I'll see you again really soon, I hope. In the meantime, happy box unpacking to those of you who did the move. Happy looking to those of you who are just starting to look. Whichever stage you're at, for all of us who are in this moving mess, Fingers crossed to us all. Cheerio, lovelies.